From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It is the one and only Pop DBICD PrimeTime Capper, and it is Thursday, middle of the month. It's the 18th of November. Man, we're a week away from Thanksgiving, and then next thing you know, it's going to be December. Next thing you know, it's going to be the first of the year. So, hey, it is what it is, and hey, man, we just gonna keep on trucking along. And so, up first, we got the college football playoff picture going up first. And last night, Georgia was number one, Alabama was number two, number three was Oregon, and Ohio State rounded out the group at number four. Now, Ohio State probably does have the toughest game of the week coming up this week. They do have to play against the mighty Spartans of Michigan State, team that actually was doing very well, and they were in the top four of the CFP when the first poll came out. Now they are the seventh ranked team in the nation at 9-1, and going against Ohio State 4-1 this week. So that game right there should be a very, very important game. It's going to be first thing in the morning as well, too. Now, we all know that Michigan did have a hiccup with their loss to Purdue last time that they were on the road. So they go into this game with the upset on their mind, because if they're able to beat Ohio State here, they'll find themselves right back in the mix for the top spot for the CFP group. But this is something that's good, that works out very well for, say, a team like Cincinnati. Cincinnati would really love for Ohio State upset this weekend, because then they can possibly sneak in with that right there. But I know that Michigan State will be able to leapfrog them because how good Ohio State is. So all in all, Cincinnati, even if they win out, there's still doubts that they'll possibly not be able to make this Final Four group. So they technically really need Alabama to lose, and they need a Oregon to lose or Ohio State to lose here in the long run, because at the end of the day, Georgia looks like they're going to go undefeated on the season. That doesn't necessarily mean they win their championship, though, in the conference. So I think that Georgia's pretty much locked and loaded into their position in the Final Four. It doesn't really matter what the seeding is. They'll be there at the end of the day. And most likely, if they're not one, they'll make them two. So that's how it goes with this. And, Georgia has an easy one this week. They have a bought game. This one is against Charleston Southern. So you know how those games go, and you don't really need to take too much into it. But I think Ohio State's biggest challenge of the season comes up not this week. It comes up next. It comes up at the end of the year in the game against Michigan. Michigan's coming in here 9-1 on the season as well, too. They have a game at Maryland, but I know that their mind is on that Ohio State game, because now that game has become even bigger, because the winner of this game, to me, literally these next two games are going to settle who the Big Ten champion is going to be. So Michigan State already owns the tiebreaker over Michigan. If they beat Ohio State, they shouldn't have a problem finishing up the season, even though they match up with Penn State. So that would kind of throw things in a flux. But Ohio State, on the other hand, they get through Michigan State, and then it's the arch rival Michigan, a team that has not beat you in the last decade. Seriously, it's been very one-sided between these two teams, and I know at some point you want to get back into the winner circle of this rivalry. If you look at since Jim Tressel took over way back in the early 2000s, Ohio State has lost twice to Michigan. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. And this is coming from a guy that watched Ohio State literally get their ass handed to them the whole 90s by Michigan. Like, games weren't even close. And when Ohio State needed a big win to get to the Rose Bowl, guess who interrupted that every single time? Michigan. So, Michigan is still Michigan still the standard at the end of the day. And Ohio State knows they had to get past Michigan to really be able to get to this Final Four, because the championship game is almost like a victory lap for either one of these teams. And I hate to talk like that, but the West just isn't strong enough to go against the East of the East. Okay, the Big East, the Big Ten East Division right now, you could put three of those teams up right now in different conferences, and they would all be in the mix for this. So everything's rightfully so. I'll say this because Iowa is 5-2, 8-2 on the season, but Iowa just did not look good in both of their losses at all. And they weren't against good teams either. So that's where it's like you tell yourself, Iowa, you're good, but you're not going to really be able to stand up when it comes to the big three. The big three. I think possibly they got a shot against Michigan State and Michigan, but Ohio State wipes them off the floor, to be honest with you. Now, when you look at the situation going on in the SEC, now you know that Alabama is in the driver's seat to win their conference, but there is the tiebreaker does land with Texas A&M, but it doesn't matter anymore because Texas A&M wound up losing such a critical game last week to Ole Miss. And both of these teams have already been just crushed by Alabama. So, well, Texas A&M wasn't crushed by Alabama, but you know what I mean, though. Mississippi already got crushed, and Texas A&M pretty much put themselves out of this thing with this 4-3 record in conference. Now, Mississippi State's also 4-3. Arkansas is 3-3. But my whole point is this: it's a tough conference. Now, Alabama does need to understand, though, that there is a game to be played in Alabama that ain't going to be in Tuscaloosa. It's going to be up the way against the Auburn Tigers. And the Auburn Tigers, you guys already know, the War Eagle, Roll Tide, Roll. So this is going to be, once again, the most important game of the year in the Southeastern Conference. And it seems like it always is as well, too. So the one thing that all these teams pray for is that Auburn gets that final game upset of Alabama. And that technically, to me, would put them out the CFP. Even though they wouldn't want it to happen like that, they wouldn't be in the CFP, okay? Now, they would still be able to be in their conference championship game. And if they were able to get that win over Georgia, then quite possibly they get in. But I think, though, at the end of the day, if you lose that last game to Auburn, you're going to wind up losing that game to Georgia as well, too. And I know they don't lose back-to-back games, but Georgia's defense is just next level. And it was like that a few years ago as well, too, when they were a play away from winning the national championship. So with that, that's going to be the CFP picture for us moving forward. Next week, I'll talk about it a bit more to see exactly where we stand after we get done with another great weekend. And I didn't mention Oregon because I think Oregon is good money until their final game of the season as well, too. They did get blown out by Oregon State last year. Now, this game right here that they walk into this week is going to be by far the toughest game of the year since the Ohio State game. And they are the road team here. So all in all, this game is huge, but next week's game's even bigger because they've come over the years to overlook Oregon State and it's messed them up. So they got to make sure that they're on the money here when it comes down to who's going to be able to win that game. So when I look at the North standings, you have a 6-1 Oregon team that pretty much, I think, has already solidified themselves into that Pac-12 championship this year. And this right here, Utah and Oregon will probably be having a rematch in the next few weeks. But all in all, though, if Arizona State is able to win and Utah loses, now Arizona State does jump the bridge, but I have to remember what the score was, and Utah actually beat Arizona State. So So pretty much, I think this will wind up going to Utah as well too. So I think we already have our Pac-12 championship set up. These teams will just see each other at the end of the year. Okay, so there it is with that. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next topic in hand. It's going to be the CFB Thursday night football game. And this Thursday night football game lands in Louisville tonight. And we have a Louisville team lands in Durham tonight, actually in North Carolina. So we have a Duke team that's actually plus 600 home dog tonight, 6-1, and then you have a minus 1400 on Louisville tonight as well too. So pretty much when you look at the notes going into this game, you have a Louisville team that's 5-5, and they are 5-5 against the spread as well too. They've won 107 out of their 10 games this season. Also straight up as the favorite, they are 3-1. 2-2 against the spread as the favorite, 3-4 straight up in the ACC, 4-3 against the spread in conference, and then they have won under in 5 out of their 7 games in the ACC as well too. All right, so Duke comes into this game. They are 3-7 on the year, 4-6 against the spread. They've dropped their last 5 games in a row when it comes to the spread after a 4-1 start to the season. So pretty much this going into conference play has really tore them up. And so then you have a 5-5 when it comes to the over and under, meaning that's a split down the middle. And then you have this team losing 6 out of 7 games as an underdog, 5 out of 7 against the spread as an underdog, and then they are 0-6 straight up in the conference this year, but they're 1-5 against the spread in the ACC this year. And also, they've won under in 4 out of their 6 games. So pretty much with this game right here, I think that Louisville is way too high of a favorite with the plus 20 points tonight. And I think that's going to be a bit much. And I think that's the way that you can go the other way tonight. And then you have an over-under of 60.5. It looks like Duke has really been bad in conference. They're giving up 30-plus points weekly in conference as well, too. But Louisville is not a high-powered offense like that. Louisville wants to do enough to just win the game. You know what I mean? They're not trying to come in here and beat down Duke by 40 points. They know that they can't get into a back and forth with Duke because they could possibly lose this game. So what they want to do is dominate here. But I think with the way that Duke has been getting duped the last few weeks, I think that they should be really strong tonight, to be honest with you. And I think that they make a game of it, but I'm not saying that they win. I'm just not saying that. I'm saying that they're not going to lose 7-48 like they did last week. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. And that's going to be our CFB Thursday night game. And we move forward to go ahead and talk about the state of the Lakers. And in the state of the Lakers, not too much to go about. You know, they played last night, I liked what I saw last night. I thought that they played very well for the circumstances they were in, but scoring 19 points in the fourth quarter is not going to cut it. 49 points in the 49 points in the second half to 45. So honestly, without that big second quarter, the Lakers could have won this game. They won almost every quarter of the game except for the second and fourth, the most important quarters. Now, Giannis last night had 47 points. That's his season high for this year. Also had 9 rebounds. Drew Holiday led the way with 8 assists and 4 steals on that side of the ball. Taylor Horton Tucker was the lead scorer last night for the Lakers. He had 25 points. Also had 12 rebounds as well, too. So he kind of knocked AD off of a spot that he is supposed to be the nightly leader of. And then Russell Westbrook had 15 assists last night, and I still don't understand how the Lakers lose this game by 7. And then you have Tucker, who had 2 steals last night. So we look at Russell's line last night, and you know what? Once again, you would try to say turnovers were the reason, but they weren't. So he had 3 turnovers last night. It's just that the Lakers did not score enough last night, and he had 19 points with that, and he probably needed more. That's all I'm saying is that maybe Russell needed to score about 10 more points last night to really solidify a Laker win. Anthony Davis had 18 points, but did well in the field goal department. He went 9 of 15 last night. Also had 9 rebounds as well, too, and was dealing with a bad foot. So all in all, I thought that he played very well, too. And I thought Taylor Horton-Tucker really just stole the show. 25 points, 12 rebounds, man. That's pretty damn good. And then Carmelo Anthony had 10 points last night as well, too. He's kind of slowed it down on the three-point making. He was making 50% of his three-pointers. Malik Monk dropped 11 points. And then when you look at it, they're just not getting enough from the bench. You had Ellington, who had 3. Howard had 3. Rondo had 8. And then you got blanks from Jordan and Bazemore. These guys have to be better, to be honest with you. The bench has to come in and be helpful. You know what I mean? They had to get some type of points up. The Lakers needed all hands on deck last night. They literally were like 90% there. So when you look at everything and you put everything together, LeBron coming back at this time might be right what the doctor ordered. And I think that this team was a little motivated last night because they know that they were going against the world champions in the Milwaukee Bucks. And the game was on ESPN as well, too. So they didn't want to embarrass themselves because they're already the talk of the town on being a lousy team. But I think that, once again, as I've said for the last 6 weeks, that we just have to have some patience and everything will work itself out once we get to, to the meaty part of the season. Right now, we're dealing with the NFL. College basketball just started. I know that has no concern to the Lakers or anything like that, but at the end of the day, the NBA truly doesn't start until Christmas Day. So I think that once Christmas Day starts, that's when you can start judging the Lakers because you already have a great sample size of what the season already is. So there it is. State of the Lakers. I'm not too worried about it. They lose last night by 7, but when you look at their record, it's not as bad as everybody puts it. You know what I mean? I'll take 8-8 right now if I've lost LeBron for the last 9 games of that stretch. So that means that I've only had my best player pretty much maybe 45% of the season. So, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. The Lakers should bounce back very well. They got a great matchup tomorrow night against the arch rival of them all, the Boston Celtics. So I'll have more for you guys tomorrow, and we'll have that game covered, and I'll give you guys a great preview on what to expect in that game as well, too. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into the NBA Thursday night. We got 6 games, but I'm covering 5 of them as usual for you guys, and then right after that, we get into Talkin Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back, and let's go ahead and get into our final stretch of the show. And we got NBA Thursday night. And up first, we got the Warriors at the Cavs. This was a series that we got experience for. What was it? The Warriors were able to get 3 rings out of that situation, and pretty much solidify themselves as the team of the 2010s to end it all, because they went to 5 straight finals. So you can't take that away from them. And literally LeBron is the player of the decade because he went to eight out of the 10 finals that were in that decade. He only missed 2010 and 2019. That's absolutely insane. So pretty much LeBron's been gone for almost 3 years now. And things have changed in Cleveland a little bit. Now you have Evan Mobley as your rock star, superstar, but he's out for the next 2 to 4 weeks with an elbow injury. And the Warriors are back to life, back to reality. And now it's a big problem for everybody in the Western Conference, to be honest with you. And they're 12-2 right now, and for good reason, because they just been playing lights out basketball and they ain't worried about what anybody has to say or thinks. They did what they had to do to keep this team very good for the long term. They took a short term they took a short term left on, pretty much, being a consistent winning franchise, and literally took 2 years off out of the playoffs, 1 year as one of the worst teams in the NBA, and the next year missing out on the playoffs because of the play-in situation. And now they're back to being who we are used to. And they have Klay Thompson on the way back very, very soon. So the Warriors are absolutely the team to beat at this point in the Western Conference. And there is no close second, to be honest. So the Warriors 7-1 straight up in the month of November, 6-1-1 against the spread, and then they have went under in 5 out of their 8 games this month. The Cavs, before they lost Evan Mobley, everything was looking really, really good for this team. They have won 6. They've went 6-3 in the month of November. They also covered 7 out of the 9 games that they've been in this month as well too. And then they've also went under in 6 out of their 9 games this month as well. So when you look at this game, you feel bad for the Warriors. For the Cavaliers, because they don't have their star player. So if he was there, this would be a much different game. It'd be a much closer game. But I think tonight, the way Steph plays in Cleveland and plays over at the OQ, I think that he's in for a big, big night tonight. And I think that if you want to go ahead and really put some more props and everything in, you should go ahead and bet Steph to go over whatever the point total is for him tonight. I think Steph is good for 40 points tonight in Cleveland. And it sounds crazy right now, but I think that I'm on to something with that. So let's see how it shakes out. Let's see how it goes. We move forward from there. Let's talk about this divisional game tonight, which is going to be between the Warriors and the Heat. The Heat coming to this game. The Heat are a very good team right now, but both these teams are very good teams right now. The Wizards are 10-4 on the season, 5-3 straight up in the month of November, and then they're 4-4 against the spread this month as well too. But they've also went under in 7 out of their 8 games. So that's something that you have to go ahead and key in on, that this team is not scoring in a high abundance, but they are getting some good quality wins here as well too. So you have the Heat 10-5, who look to be the team to beat in the Southeast this year, but the Southeast might be one of the toughest conferences in all of the NBA, to be very honest with you. Only team that is still treading for water in that division is Orlando, and we know that Orlando has like a 5-year rebuild plan, so we're not worried about them. But the other 4 are possible playoff teams. So you have the Wizards, as I said before already, what in my notes what they are. You have the Heat, who are 5-4 against the spread and straight up in November. And then with the over and under, they've went over in 6 out of the 9 games this month as well too. So the Heat coming to this one with a lot of confidence, but then you have the Wizards, who've been playing really good basketball, and I feel like they're overselling the Heat right now, because the Heat are playing how they feel good basketball. But really, when you look at how they've been playing this month, they've been very even, if not below. They haven't played as well as they did in the month of October. So pretty much this game right here. They're going against a division rival. And I really, truly feel that division rival is being overlooked because just the other day, they were excited about this team being the number one team in the Eastern Conference with being the first one to 8 wins. Now, that's not around anymore, but still, the Wizards are a team that will come to spoil your show. So I like the Wizards tonight. I'm taking them with the plus 240 as my dog of the day. All right, so with that, we move on, and let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be another really, really, really fun game tonight as well, too. That's going to be the Clippers and the Grizzlies tonight. And you got Ja going against PG-13, and but this is going to be another game where it's a 50-50 split on who to take because both teams coming in here minus 110. So how I look at this one, you have a Clippers team that may be the hottest team in the NBA right now, 8-1 in the month of November. They have covered 6 out of their 9 games this month as well, too. And they've also went over in 5 out of their 9 games this month. Very much improved from the team that we saw start the season off as well, too. People have to understand the Clippers started the season 1-4. So they've been playing some pretty good basketball after a lot of us had already wrote them off. But the Clippers still have a long road ahead of them without Kawhi, to be honest with you. Because if anything happens to Paul George, then they can just go ahead and get ready to be in the lottery. Okay, so pretty much the Clippers are playing good, grinding, gritty basketball. Their team is built to last, in a sense. And then you got the Grizzlies, 4-3 straight up in the month of November. 4-3 against the spread as well, too, and they've went under in 6 out of their 8 games this month. This is a team that started off the season much better than this, to be honest with you. But they just haven't been – it's just been kind of a back and forth, and they haven't been scoring at a high clip like they were before. So I know this could play a part into it, and I think, though, with the way that the Grizzlies play the Clippers in Memphis – this should be a game that favors the Grizzlies a little bit more. And I think the Grizzlies are good money tonight as well, too. So I like the Grizzlies tonight. I think they're a good money line play. They bring a little bit of value to you as well, too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we move forward from there. Now we have the 76ers and the Nuggets. Well, no, not the 76ers and the Nuggets tonight. Sorry about that. We're going to let me go ahead and get that. Fix this up real quick. But thing is, we have the 76ers and the Nuggets tonight. So 76ers and Nuggets going at it tonight. And yeah, I'm getting confused. I had it right. It's the 76ers and the Nuggets. And so pretty much you have a Nuggets team coming in here as a 7.5-point favorite tonight. And they are minus 275 as the home fave as well, too. But you got the 76ers coming in here plus 220. Still going through the motions a little bit. This team has played really, really down basketball the last 5 games or so. They came into this month 8-2. Now they're 8-7. They're 4-5 against the spread and straight up this month. And also they dropped their last 5 games in a row. And then they've went under in 5 out of their 9 games this month as well, too. I think the team is in a rut right now because they need to make a move. At some point, either you get Ben Simmons playing or you get Ben Simmons off your roster. You can't keep going like this. You can't do him like this. And you're going to just keep hearing from his agent left and right about how he's stressed and you guys are messing with him and all this other stuff and blah, 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 blah. So just get the headache out. Just take your aspirin and get rid of your headache. That's all you got to do. And I've been hearing some trade rumors about Ben Simmons leaving. So pretty much I think that this deal will be done by mid-December, to be dead honest with everybody, because I think the Sixers will finally get something that they really like to get this guy down the road. Now, the Nuggets come into this month 5-3 straight up in November. Then they have actually dropped 5 out of their 8 games against the spread this month. And then also they've went under in 5 out of their 8 games. But they're 9-5 on the season. They're playing really good basketball at home, especially this month as well, too. They haven't lost a game yet. And it can be close. It can be a blowout. But the Nuggets have been really, really taking care of their business when it comes to home games. And they had just came off of about a 5-game winning streak before losing the other night to the Mavericks, to be exact. So pretty much they had won 5 in a row after dropping the first 2 games of the month and wound up losing by a few points the other night and snapping that 5-game winning streak. So the Nuggets go into this game with really nothing to lose. They still wait on Jamal Murray to get back and all that good stuff. But I think that this game winds up being a scoreboard watching game. And I think that we can probably get some scoring provided tonight as well too in this spot. But we'll have to see how it shapes up, see how it goes. But the 206 is a good number. I like the over 206. I think that this can work. All right, so we move on to our next game, and our next game is going to be the nightcap, and it's going to be the Raptors and the Jazz. The Raptors and the Jazz under the radar game tonight, and you have both of these teams kind of struggling this month just a little bit. Raptors 7-8 on the year, 3-5 against the spread and straight up this month, and then they went over in 5 out of their 8 games as well too. Then you have the Jazz, who are 4-4 straight up this month in the month of November. But here goes a note to note: the Jazz have kind of cooled off kind of nicely as well too. They started the year off 5-1. Now they're 9-5. So they've had a little bit of a struggle here in the month of November. And I say this because they've only covered 3 out of their 8 games this month as well too. And then they've also went under in 5 out of their 8 games as well. So the Jazz might not be that trustworthy in this spot, but the Raptors present a team that's pretty scrappy. I'm not going to say that they're great. I'm not going to say that they're good. I'm going to say that they're scrappy. And I'm going to say this too. They have some type of power over all their opponents in their division as well too. They've played great against the whole division this year. So they've been able to be a part of some pretty live upsets as well too. Road games against the Knicks and the Sixers, where they had some good money behind them and wound up winning, but not just winning, dominating the game at the end as well too. So there it is. The Jazz and the Raptors, once again, this game is tough to pick a side. So as I like to do, I'll just scoreboard watch and we will pick what the over under should be. But I think that defense could be at a premium tonight as well too. And in this new season of the NBA, where a lot of fouls aren't getting called anymore, it's really turning into a day where a lot of unders are hitting instead of the overs hitting. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But this could be one of the best games of the night, if not the best game of the night, because it's under the radar. So there it is with that. And let's go ahead and jump into Talkin Tickets. And with Talkin Tickets, you know what time it is. And I have everybody on one group right here. And so pretty much that's where we're going tonight with Talkin Tickets. First, the CFB Thursday Bets. What we're going to do here is we're putting plus 20 on Duke tonight. They're the home team. It's a Thursday night. Why not? They should cover. So I'm taking the Duke with the plus 20 tonight. Then I'm taking the over 31.5 in the first half tonight, because I think that both teams will be scoring in the first half, but I think it'll kind of tail off in the second half. And then I like Duke in the first quarter to kind of surprise all of us. I'm taking them with the money line plus 255. Yeah, I'm being that bold, but it's only the first quarter. So if they're up 3-zip, 7-zip, all good. We get to take that home with us. So I'm taking Duke money line first quarter plus 255. And then we have Louisville team total tonight. I got them under 41.5. I think tonight, I know they scored 40 points last week, but they're coming back on this game on short rest, only 4 days of rest. I think that what happens is that Duke will try to play at a higher level tonight. So I don't think that they let them get to 41 points. Maybe they just they stick them at 40 tonight. Okay. That's what I'm kind of betting on. So we'll see how that plays out. But all in all, those are going to be our college football Thursday bets. And then we move on to the NBA Super High Five, which is 42-1. I'm going to go ahead and take the Warriors tonight with the -9.5. I usually don't like to take road teams with that high of a spread. But as I said before, no Evan Mobley, no go for the Cavs for me. So I'm taking the Warriors with the -9.5. And then I have the Wizards as my dog of the day at +240. And then we also have the Grizzlies money line today at -115. And then we end the night with the over 206 with the 76ers and Nuggets. And then we do the under 214.5 with the Raptors and the Jazz. This equates to a 42-1 ticket. And if you make a $20 investment, you make $840 on this bet, okay? And if you make a $25 investment, you wind up getting $1080 on this. So we'll see how it goes and see how it checks out. But all in all, though, you'll be pretty happy about that one as well, too. Yeah. All right, so there it is, 42-1. And then TNF Bets for tonight. We're going to take Atlanta, +7. Falcons, see what you guys can do. I think a team that just got beat by 40 points, coming back to play a game after 3 days, should be very, very pissed off and very motivated to not get blown out by 40 points again. I think the Falcons make this game a lot closer than most think. And I think they can possibly upset the Patriots tonight because the Patriots are coming off of a big win, 45-7, and they could get a little cute tonight against this team in the Falcons. So pretty much under 23.5 is under the first half. So pretty much all right, so pretty much it is what it is. Falcons over 2.5 team total first quarter. I know that seems a little funny, but I think that they can kick a field goal and be fine to get themselves a nice little 3-0 start to the game. I'm not saying they're going to be up at the end of the first half, but hey, I like the 2.5. I think that is a pretty fun number, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. So it is what it is at the end of the day. I thank you guys very much for tuning into the show. It's always a blast to do this. And then, hopefully you guys are watching the NFL Bet Exchange as well, too. We had a lot of good stuff for that show today as well. So you guys just, the movement is moving. You guys already know what time it is. If you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Always bet with your head, not with your heart. And as I always say, man, this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, and I'm your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.